let's go back to that Klay Thompson comment that he made. And all of them are striking the same chord. Listen for the line that you hear from every single Warrior dignitary. This is Larry Harris on the Klay Thompson situation.
It's difficult because there's emotion on both sides, right? I will say this. I think both sides want to find something that can come to a common ground and get an agreement done. But that's what free agency is all about. We really don't know what's going to transpire with it. But I think Steve stated it well. I think Mike stated it well. And we believe in the organization. It comes from Joe as well. We'd like to have Klay back. I mean, there's no question about that. So, but we're here in the next 3 or 4 days. We'll see if something can come about. But we're prepared either way. But obviously our choice is to bring him back.
Okay. I say this with all due respect. Do they?
Yes.
Do they?
If the price is right, as I Bob Barker you.
Hold on a second.
Of course they want him back.
Hold on. I'm going to push back.
Push it. Salt and pepper.
If every single one of them keeps saying, look, if there's a home run, we'll hit it. We hope to hit a home run. We just don't know if we can. Doesn't a home run mean you can't afford Klay Thompson at all? So couldn't I then argue that the Warriors are actually hoping plan A is to not have Klay back? Can't I argue that?
You could argue it, but you could still bring Klay back if the number is small enough. And if you're getting reports that the number is
small.
Well, if it's $13 million a year, you could have Klay back for $13 million.
Okay.
Depending on how much you're sending out. And if Klay's value is now $13 million, which is what was bandied about on the internet earlier today, then you could still have Klay come back.
Then I would argue what I have said already all day today on this show. Klay at $13 million tells me that's angry Klay. I don't want angry Klay.
You don't know that would be angry Klay.
I don't know it, but that would be my guess.
Well, if he can't get any more anywhere else, then he's going to have to be suck it up Klay.
Okay, yes, of course he will have to be suck it up Klay, but that's what he was last year, and it was terrible. I didn't like it. Nobody liked it. He didn't like it. The Warriors didn't like it. The fans didn't like it. These are one of those things, and I like this in human beings when they wear their heart on their sleeve. You can see it. They can't fake it. They can't lie to you. Klay Thompson was miserable last year. You could see it all over every body part. Now, you're telling me, you're right, we don't know the man, but you're telling me that this guy, this future Hall of Fame, absolute franchise legend who has already been angered by a 2-year, $48 million offer, angered by getting sent to the bench, angered by the idea that he's not priority one this offseason. He's angered by all these things. And now I'm supposed to believe that in 2 weeks, he's going to sign for 2 years and $26 million to be the sixth man, while the rest of the city is celebrating the arrival of Paul George to be the savior number 2 on the Warriors. And Klay Thompson is going to like that?
He'll learn to like it.
No, he won't.
Well,
I will very vehemently argue that no, he won't. And
then he'll sign for 2 and 26 elsewhere.
And that's what I would vote for.
And I don't think that he would. I think he would look at his situation and realize that the grass is not always greener. And, the idea of angry Klay, I don't know if he was as angry as Draymond Green. I mean, yes.
That's a different kind of angry.
It is. But I think that Klay went out there and he was prove it Klay. He had a lot to prove, and he feels like he did prove it. And if the league is telling you that, yeah, Klay, you proved it, you stayed healthy, you still were one of the better shooters in the game, and yet your value is about half of what you thought that it would be, you might be frustrated, Klay. You might be bitter, Klay. But by the time you get to October, Klay's going to realize that he has a chance to do what he's always done, which is play basketball.
I don't see the same Klay you see.
Well, I don't know Klay, and quite frankly, neither do you.
I don't know Klay.
I don't either.
I think as a fan base, we have seen characteristics in Klay, so I'm not claiming to know the man like he's my friend.
But we've never seen Klay in this spot where you turn down 2 and 48, and if you wind up getting 2 and 26, well, that's just the reality of what the market is. And
yeah. So pretend you're an employee that's in this situation, whatever the number is. For him, it's 2 and 48, but it could be $2 and $12 an hour, whatever.
I've been in this situation.
You've been in that situation. You say no thanks. Then you go explore whatever the opportunities are. They're not what you thought they were. You come back to the company. Okay, company, I'll take 2 and 48. Company goes, sorry. That's actually not available anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, what is available? About half that. By the way, hold right there. We have to go celebrate our faces off because Paul George is on the team right now. He's older than you. We'll be right back so that we can talk to you again. I know. Sorry. Could you just have a seat right over there on that couch? We'll be with you in just a few minutes, we promise. Thanks, Klay. We'll be back. Come on, man. This is going to drive him absolutely batty. It's going to drive him batty. I can feel his anger from around the corner.
In the short term, but in the long term, he's a pro. And he wants to play basketball.
He's been mad for 2 years. He didn't get over it.
But what was he doing when he was mad last year? He played almost every single game, and he balled out to the best of his ability.
And did not play nearly as well as he could in the past.
But he didn't bring his emotions on the court to where it affected his effort. Did it affect his effort?
Not his effort. No. Did it affect his game? I don't care about effort.
He played better over the last 2 months.
We're not in that effort business. This is the NBA.
When you're an NBA player. He could have jaked it.
You're in the results business.
He could have pouted. He didn't do any of that.
He came out. Out?
No, he played angry.
Did you watch the games?
He played a little bit surly.
I never even saw him do anything but pout.
He played basketball. He went out there and he did what the team asked him to do.
He barked at Tim Kawakami in the media room for a question he didn't even ask. He was angry all the time.
He showed up to work, and he went out there and played basketball.
He called a closed-door meeting with Steve Kerr every other week.
Right, to try to work through his emotions and his feelings. So
we ain't got time for that.
Well, we do have time for it because the reality would be if he signs that deal and he returns to the Warriors, he'll have between July and October to work through his feelings and get to the spot where he needs to be because he's not going to sign this deal thinking, all right, I'm going to be back and I'm going to start and I'm going to be the old Klay that I used to be. There's a certain amount of resignation that comes with signing this deal. And if it's a deal elsewhere, if it's a deal here, whatever that deal is, there's going to be a shift in his own reality because he's not a $42 million a year player anymore. And if he's going to be the sixth man, he's going to have to deal with it. And I have faith that he's not going to carry that with him into the season.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that you have that level of faith in someone who very, very clearly for the last 2 years showed you that this is his weak point. I'm not saying that Klay Thompson is some awful crybaby. I'm saying that we have watched him for 2 years, and this has been well documented and clear as day in my mind that Klay does not deal with this stuff well. Devin Booker is cooking him. What does he do? Hold up 4 fingers and get thrown out. What the hell are you doing? He has been livid for 2 years. There are reports spread all over the place right now that he has literally gotten to the point of being upset at the organization that has been the only one he's ever known. He may want to leave. This is from Anthony Slater. Even if the Warriors are the highest bidder, he may want to leave because he's so angry. Now we're flashing forward a scenario that, granted, doesn't exist yet, but we're flashing forward a potential scenario where the Warriors hire a new number 2, celebrate the heck out of him. He's just as old as Klay is. Tell Klay he's the 6th man. Bring him back for a well-reduced rate that's even well less than what was offered simply 9 months ago. And Klay is just going to handle it?
Well, the team thinks that he would. I mean, otherwise, they wouldn't be saying that they want him back. For you to think that he won't handle it, I think is, well, then why would the Warriors even offer him that deal? If they don't think that he's going to handle it, they wouldn't even offer him 2 and 26.
They didn't offer him a deal.
No, but that's the point. And they're saying that they want him to come back. And so,
right, I don't believe them.
Okay.
I don't believe them. If they wanted,
you should have said that to Larry when he was here.
I'm not going to say that to him on draft night.
Larry, I don't believe you.
I don't believe that they truly, again.
I believe they truly want him back.
You're talking about 2 different conversations. Emotionally, do they want Klay back? Sure.
Of course, and they want Klay back if they don't hit a home run because they have no choice.
Do they want him back based on any of the parameters that are actually in place? I'd argue no, or else there'd be an offer on the table. And it has been well reported that talks are completely frozen.
Right.
Why would that be? That would be because the Warriors are trying to actually do something else.
Right, and they don't want to embarrass him with an offer right now unless he gets another offer that is a low offer, and then the Warriors can come in at that same level.
I don't think they can offer him anything right now. Because,
well, right now they can't because they want to go out there and make the big swing.
Which tells
they want
me,
to bring in the big fish.
But
And if they don't bring the big fish in, then all of a sudden you want Klay more than you thought you wanted Klay because you don't have any other option if you don't go out there and land a big fish.
I know it's semantics, but that's what I'm getting at. No, they don't want Klay back. They want Klay back if what they're trying to do doesn't work.
Right.
That's
and the odds are that what they're trying to do probably won't work.
But that's not wanting Klay back. That's 2 a.m. at the bar. What the hell's left? I'll take you. That's not I want you.
It's absolutely I want you. Especially 20 minutes later in the cab.
If you got to get wasted
right,
to want him, you don't actually want him.
You don't have to be wasted. You could be half in the bag.
I mean, again, so
it is semantics.
They love Klay, but it doesn't add up right now. And because it may end up that way, I'm not buying that means you want him. No, that means that you'll take him if you can't get what you want. That's not wanting him. Obviously, we want Klay back. They've all said it. They have to say it. That's PR. Their PR director's sitting right next to us as they said it.
Yeah.
That's all I see. That's all I'm saying. I do not have any interest in angry Klay, and I don't see how the Warriors can have him not be angry this year after what has just taken place.
Well, then they won't make him an offer.
That's why they haven't.
Yeah, well, they haven't because they don't want to embarrass him with a low-ball offer, and they want to see what the market is dictating. They're not going to make him an offer until they see what the market is going to offer him, because if the market right now is offering him 2 and 25, 2 years, $50 million, or if it's 3 years and $60 million, well, they're not doing that. So
Why
then
would
there's
they
no
have to do
reason
that?
for them to make that offer.
Of course there is.
They're not going to make an offer. They want him badly at a price. You're not seeing it.
So what's the price?
The price is probably like $8 million a year.
No, the price is $0.
Disagree with you.
We cannot have you until we know what else we can do.
Exactly. That doesn't mean that they won't want him on a veteran minimum deal. They would absolutely bring him back for that.
No, you want angry Klay? Veteran minimum?
I think you're overstating the angry Klay narrative.
I don't
think
at all.
That's a misrepresentation of the way he played. Was he edgier than normal? Sure. Did he play with a certain amount of joy that we remember from a 37-point quarter? Of course not. This is an aging player who didn't have a contract. He got a contract offer that he didn't like, and he played the year with a chip on his shoulder because he wasn't feeling the love, and now he's in the offseason, and that contract is not there anymore.
I think you're forgetting all kinds of things that happened. This is not just about the way he played. It's about the way he acted. It is about what he said at his locker. It is about the press conferences. It is about unfollowing the Warriors on Instagram. I'm sorry. I love this man for what he has been to this city, but he has acted like a baby a number of times the last 2 years. Like, let's get to it. He has acted like a baby 5 times at least in the last 2 years. He has. And I wish for this to go away. I would love for the old Klay to be back. We've done shows about this. I'm not angry at the man. I want who he used to be back. My love of Warrior basketball is the joy that they show on the court. He's lost it. He's completely lost it. And now the experience that we're having, what we're watching, the scenario that has unfolded, to me, makes me wildly concerned that there is any scenario that brings happy Klay back. If happy Klay can be on the Warriors, I'm in. But how does that happen when you were angry about having to come off the bench? You're having meetings every single week with Steve Kerr because you don't like the money, and you don't like the disrespect, and you don't like the media, and you don't like this, and now we're on Instagram. If all of this is happening, what clue do we have that Klay will ever be happy here again? I see no evidence at all. None.
You're tying it all to money, and you're tying it all to respect, and you're tying it all to
I'm tying it to all of these things.
Yes, and I think that if you could look at the entire team, you could talk about how Steph didn't play with the same joy. Draymond never plays with joy, so you want to talk about joy.
With that.
This was not a joyous year for many of them. What were the joy points in this season? You had a whole team that was not playing with joy. So to single out Klay,
I don't agree with that.
I think is wrong.
Klay is the one who's different than he used to be. Draymond is exactly who he's always been.
Well, you're talking about joy. Steph Curry didn't play with the same level of joy.
Of course he did.
I don't think so.
Of course he did. They weren't as good.
Exactly.
But
Which is,
that's
helped
different.
rob him of the joy.
That's different.
The way the season went, you can make it different. I don't think it's different.
Steph Curry has acted like and looked like himself the whole time. So has Draymond Green. So has Steve Kerr. So has Kevon Looney. The person who changed was Klay.
And why did he change?
For all of the reasons we've just discussed.
Exactly.
He's mad. And I don't want mad Klay on the team anymore.
Well, if he was really that mad, you wouldn't be hearing all of the talk from everybody, not just the front office people, Bob Fitzgerald, Steve Kerr, everybody else talking about how much they love Klay. They wouldn't be so
that's exactly why
about what they're talking about with Klay Thompson.
The same thing the Suns did with Kevin Durant. Why are they holding press conferences sounding like they're begging him to stay?
They're sounding like they're standing pat. That was the word from yesterday.
Which is a lie.
Well, we'll see.
I don't think it's going to happen right now. It'll happen mid-season. But they're having press conferences to apologize to him because he's mad. That's what teams do when their favorite players are mad.